How's it going, everyone? Austin Honecker here. I just want to come on here for a while and give them a review for All Elite Wrestling's AEW Dark from last night, which was August 3rd, 2021. I gotta say, it was awesome from start to finish. For the matches, match 1, it was the Best Friends, which are Chuck Taylor, Orange Cassidy, and Wheeler Yuta, versus the Wingmen, which are Ryan Nemeth, Cesar Bononi, and J.D. Drake. That was a great match, but the ending to it, the Best Friends went over because Wheeler Yuta pinned J.D. Drake with a crucifix pin. But after the match, Peter Avalon came into the ring and attempted to beat the shit out of Wheeler Yuta, but Orange Cassidy attacked Peter Avalon with the Orange Punch, and Chuck Taylor attacked Peter Avalon with the Awful Waffle. And after so the Wingmen ended up retreating, and the Best Friends and Chris Statlander celebrated, which that was cool. Match 2, it was Pac versus Jack Evans. That was a great match, but the ending to it, Pac went over with the Brutalizer. Well, after the match, the Death Triangle, which are Pac, Ray Phoenix, Pena El Cerro Miedo, and Alex Abrahantes, were celebrating, and as the Death Triangle were celebrating, Andrade El Idolo, Chavo Guerrero Jr., and Andrade El Idolo's personal assistant came out, and the Death Triangle were staring down Andrade El Idolo, Chavo Guerrero Jr., and Andrade El Idolo's personal assistant. But as Andrade El Idolo, Chavo Guerrero Jr., and Andrade El Idolo's personal assistant came down, Andrade El Idolo and Chavo Guerrero Jr. got on the ring apron and were staring down the Death Triangle. And, well, Andrade El Idolo was getting ready to get into the ring, but Chavo Guerrero Jr. advised Andrade El Idolo not to get in the ring, to wait some other time. So Andrade El Idolo and Chavo Guerrero Jr. got off the ring apron and retreated, while the Death Triangle were staring down Andrade El Idolo, Chavo Guerrero Jr., and Andrade El Idolo's personal assistant, and the Death Triangle continued to celebrate and everything. That was cool. Match 3, it was Ty Conti versus Kenzie Page. That was a great match, but the ending to it, Ty Conti went over with the DDT. Match 4, it was the Pinnacle, which are Wardlow and Shawn Spears, versus Fuego del Sol and Shawn Dean. That was a great match, but the ending to it, the Pinnacle went over because Wardlow pinned Fuego del Sol with the F10. Match 5, it was Hikaru Shida versus Maddie Max. That was a great match, but the ending to it, Hikaru Shida went over with the Katana. Match 6, it was the Lucha Brothers, which are Pena El Cerro Miedo and Ray Phoenix, versus Chaos Project, which are Luther and Serpentico. That was a great match, but the ending to it, the Lucha Brothers went over because Pena El Cerro Miedo pinned Serpentico with the Fear Factor diving foot stomp combination from Penta El Cerro Miedo and Rey Fenix. That was match 6, by the way. Match 7, it was the Hardy Family Office, which are Matt Hardy and The Blade, and the Acclaimed, which are Max Caster and Anthony Bowens, versus the Seidel brothers, which are Matt and Mike Seidel, and the Varsity Blondes, which are Brian Pillman Jr. and Griff Garrison. That was a great match, but the ending to it, the Hardy Family Office and the Acclaimed went over because Matt Hardy pinned Mike Seidel with an elbow drop. Well, after the match, Matt Hardy was punching Mike Seidel in the face, but Matt Seidel came in the ring to tend to his brother Mike Seidel, but the Blade was beating the shit out of Matt Seidel. Well, Matt Hardy was beating the shit out of Mike Seidel, and the Blade was beating the shit out of Matt Seidel. And as that was going on, the Jurassic Express, which are Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus, and Marco Stunt, came out and chased after Matt Hardy, the Blade, and the Bunny. Well, Matt Hardy, the Blade, and the Bunny ran backstage with the Jurassic Express chasing after him. And after that, the Varsity Blondes and the Acclaimed were in the ring, and Brian Pillman Jr. beat the shit out of Anthony Bowens, while Griff Garrison beat the shit out of Max Caster, and Max Caster got knocked out of the ring, and Griff Garrison done the rolling elbow to Anthony Bowens, and then Brian Pillman Jr. done a super kick to Anthony Bowens and knocked him out of the ring, and the Varsity Blondes and Julia Hart stood tall, which that was cool. Match 8, it was Layla Hirsch versus Diamante. That was a great match, but the ending to it, Layla Hirsch went over with the cross arm breaker. Well, after the match, Big Swole came into the ring and attacked Diamante and was beating the shit out of her, and they both got out of the ring, Big Swole and Diamante, and so Big Swole and Diamante were beating the shit out of each other and everything, which that was cool. Match 9, it was Jon Moxley versus Brick Aldridge. That was a great match, but the ending to it, Jon Moxley went over with the rear naked choke. Match 10, it was Penelope Ford versus Rekka Tahaka. That was a great match, but the ending to it, Penelope Ford went over with the Muda Lock. And match 11, which was the main event, it was Eddie Kingston versus Dante Martin. That was a great match, but the ending to it, Eddie Kingston went over with the back fist to the future. Now, besides all that, besides all that, Jack Evans cut a promo talking about how he's been wrestling in Japan and the independent circuit, and wait a minute. Jack Evans cut a promo talking about how he's been to Japan, the Indies, and AEW, and was talking about Pac following him everywhere he goes. And Jack Evans was pretty much saying that after he gets done with Pac tonight in their match, he was gonna that Pac was gonna leave here in a body bag and everything. That was cool. Red Velvet cut a promo talking about how she's been on a winning streak as of this year in AEW, and how she was going after Britt Baker for the AEW women's title and everything. That was cool. And Jade Cargill and Mark Sterling and Jade Cargill came out, and Mark Sterling was cutting a promo talking about how him and Jade Cargill have been in Hollywood and how they decided to travel to Charlotte, North Carolina, even though North Carolina's a dump and everything. And Mark Sterling was also talking shit about the fans not having anything, not giving good ideas to Jade Cargill for quotes and everything. And then Jade Cargill got on the microphone and was talking about how Mark Sterling relayed to her that the fans haven't been good with ideas or anything like that, or this, that, and the third. And Jade Cargill was talking shit about the fans and everything. Then Jade Cargill Jade Cargill gave Mark Sterling back the microphone. And Mark Sterling was talking about how the Jade brand have a new partnership with Nyko's wine company or something like that and everything. And then Mark Sterling continued to talk more shit to the fans and talking shit about continued to talk more shit about North Carolina and everything. And then Jade Cargill ended the promo saying, "'Cause I'm that bitch." Then Mark Sterling and Jade Cargill left and everything, which that was cool. Now, besides all that, Taz and Excalibur done commentary throughout the whole show. They done awesome as usual. Ricky Starks done guest commentary along with Taz and Excalibur during the matches of the Best Friends versus the Wingmen, Pac versus Jack Evans, and Ty Conti versus Kenzie Page. Ricky Starks done great on guest commentary. And Jake Hager done guest commentary along with Taz and Excalibur during the match between Wardlow and Shawn Spears versus Fuego del Sol and Shawn Dean. Jake Hager done great on guest commentary. Now, the referees for the event were Mike Posey, Rick Knox, Paul Turner, Bryce Remsburg, and Aubrey Edwards. Okay. Bryce Remsburg refereed the match between the Best Friends versus the Wingmen. Paul Turner refereed the match between Pac versus Jack Evans. Aubrey Edwards refereed the match between Ty Conti versus Kenzie Page. Mike Posey refereed the match between Wardlow and Shawn Spears versus Fuego del Sol and Shawn Dean. Rick Knox refereed the match between Hikaru Shida versus Matty Max. That was Rick Knox, by the way. Aubrey Edwards refereed the match between the Lucha Brothers versus Chaos Project. Bryce Remsburg refereed the match between Matt Hardy, The Blade, and The Acclaimed versus the Seidel Brothers and the Varsity Blondes. That was Bryce Remsburg, by the way. Aubrey Edwards refereed the match between Layla Hirsch versus Diamante. That was Aubrey. Yeah, that was Aubrey Edwards. Wait, Aubrey Edwards refereed the match between Layla Hirsch versus Diamante. John Moxley. Wait a minute. Hold on a minute. The referees for the event were Mike Posey, Rick Knox, Paul Turner, Bryce Remsburg, and Aubrey Edwards. Bryce Remsburg refereed the match between the Best Friends versus the Wingmen. Paul Turner refereed the match between Pac versus Jack Evans. Aubrey Edwards refereed the match between Ty Conti versus Kenzie Page. Mike Posey refereed the match between Wardlow and Shawn Spears versus Fuego del Sol and Shawn Dean. Rick Knox refereed the match between Hikaru Shida versus Matty Max. Aubrey Edwards refereed the match between the Lucha Brothers versus Chaos Project. Bryce Remsburg refereed the match between Matt Hardy, The Blade, and the Acclaimed versus the Seidel Brothers and the Varsity Blondes. Aubrey Edwards refereed the match between Layla Hirsch versus Diamante. Paul Turner refereed the match between John Moxley versus Brick Aldridge. Mike Posey refereed the match between Penelope Ford versus Rekka Tahaka, and Rick Knox refereed the match between Eddie Kingston versus Dante Martin. All the referees done awesome as usual. Now, the match card for... Now, before I get to the match card of All Elite Wrestling's AEW Dynamite's Homecoming, before I get to that, I just want to let y'all know I was there in Charlotte, North Carolina for the AEW Dark tapings. And I gotta say, those tapings were awesome. It was awesome. Like, the whole set of tapings was awesome. And it was a great 100th episode of AEW Dark at that. And, like, I really enjoyed it. And you know, like, it was awesome. Now, the match card for tonight's episode... The match card for tonight's All Elite Wrestling's AEW Dynamite's Homecoming, it's going to be... The match card for tonight's All Elite Wrestling's AEW Dynamite's Homecoming, it's going to be Miro versus Lee Johnson for the AEW TNT title. Chris Jericho versus the match card for tonight's All Elite Wrestling's AEW Dynamite Homecoming, it's going to be Miro versus Lee Johnson for the AEW TNT title. Chris Jericho versus Juventud Guerrera. And the stipulation is Chris Jericho has to hit a move off the top rope to get the win. Christian Cage versus The Blade. Cody Rhodes versus Malachi Black. John Moxley, Darby Allin, and Eddie Kingston versus 2.0, which are Matt Lee and Jeff Parker and Daniel Garcia, and The Bunny versus Layla Hirsch in it to determine the number one contender to face Camille for the NWA Women's title at NWA's Empower. So the match card for tonight's episode of All Elite Wrestling's AEW Dynamite special event, Homecoming. Looks like it's going to be awesome. I'm looking forward to it. But anyway, I just wanted to come on here for a while and give my review for All Elite Wrestling's AEW Dark from last night, which was August 3rd. Excuse me. But anyway, I just wanted to come on here for a while and give my review for All Elite Wrestling's AEW Dark from last night, which was August 3rd, 2021. Like I said, it was awesome from start to finish. And with that being said, my name is Austin Honecker, and I will catch your ass down the road. Peace out.